So welcome to Module 10 of Straight Line Persuasion. Congratulations, you're here at the finish line. And what you're going to learn right now in this module is those last few strategies and techniques that will allow you to really get those final nuances that close everybody who's closable. And the reason I said that is because remember that there are always going to be some people who are simply not closable. And you're going to deal with those people with respect. You're not going to berate them. You're not going to harass them. You're going to deal with them on a level that makes you look like a professional because you are a professional. And you're going to become a master persuader. Now, a couple of very important things here. In the art of looping and the end game of sales, remember that you are boxing somebody in. So it has to be done only for people that should be boxed in. You have to create that emotional case for buying as well as the logical case for buying. And as you're looping and going through the, down the straight line, remember the scales. Remember the positives and the negatives. Remember that what you're really doing on a gut level here is you're knocking out the negatives, building up the positives, and lowering an action threshold through language patterns. And ultimately what happens is this. It's like this, and it's hovering, and no result, and boom, the person buys. That's the bottom line. And I think, in closing here, because this is so important, is I want you to focus on really your own strategy for what motivates you, what gets you going, what inspires you. Earlier on we spoke about vision, we spoke about your whys, we spoke about some, very profound things that, are going to really drive you past those sticking points, past those challenges that hold typical people back and, force them into that box where they become creatures of circumstance. So now on a higher level, what I'd like you to do is when you watch this video, focus on what I call the two specific anchors of motivation. You have on one side the pain anchor, which propels you from, being, in a box and, from sitting still and not taking action. And then your anchor for pleasure, what pulls you towards what you want in life. Some people are motivated by pleasure a lot more than pain. And there's, in fact, more people who are motivated by pain. They won't do anything until April 15th in the morning when their taxes due, and all of a sudden, wham, next thing they're running, in place, doing everything they got to do because the pain of not doing their taxes has motivated them. So that's an ultimate truth in self-development. I didn't invent that. That's been going on for many, many years by some very profound people who have really broken that down into its, its essence. But what I want here for you is I want you to actually take that now and internalize it. Use it in your own life. And here's how you're going to do it. You're going to identify what is ultimate pain for you. I want you to go through the exercise and list 5 things or 5 situations you might see yourself in that you consider ultimate pain. And by the way, it's going to be different for all of you. What's my definition of ultimate pain might not be yours. Of course, there's a couple of things like, being out in the street and everybody hating you, right? Those are ultimate pain for most of us. But I want you to dig deeper than that. I want you to find your ultimate pain on a why basis. What are the whys? Why is that ultimate pain for you? And I want you to write down your whys for ultimate pain. Then I want you on the other side to find out what's your ultimate pleasure, what's your vision, what's your feeling about ultimate pleasure. What are your whys? How do you see yourself? And what is that would really drive you to be pulled towards wealth and success? And then what you're going to do here, and you'll learn this on the last DVD module, what you're going to find here is that you're going to learn a technique that actually helps you move away from pain and pulls you towards pleasure. If you develop both of those anchors, one here and one here, you will find that you'll be able to move through those uncomfortable situations, to overcome the specter of fear, to actually take fear and make it a powerful, motivating force versus this, dastardly force that keeps you in a box. I'm a believer that, while many people are scared of taking action because they think they're going to fail, so they, don't want to be failures, so to speak, I believe that what holds people back from taking action, even more than fear of failure, is not truly believing that they're going to succeed. See, if I said to you right now, here's what you got to do. You got to take this action, and that action, and I promise you I'm going to give you a check for $1 million if you take those 3 actions. Well, I would guess that pretty much 100% of you would take those actions as long as you didn't see yourself, jumping off a cliff and dying, right? You would take those actions, hopefully not hurting another human being in the process. But if you really, really knew that you would succeed, you take the action. And if I said now you got a 50% chance of succeeding, well, I would see some of the hands in the group go down. If I said you had a 20% chance, more hands would go down. And when I get to a 2% chance, pretty much all the hands would go down. What I'm driving at is this. you've just learned an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool. It's a technique that I came up with in 1988 that allowed me to make hundreds of millions of dollars at an extraordinarily young age. It allowed me to train any person, and I said earlier, most of these people were not, sales pro types. They were not people whose parents instilled in them that they were great, that they were capable of greatness. They were people who thought they'd end up maybe working in a 7-Eleven or just in a retail store. They were never thought they were capable of greatness. They were never told that. They weren't given those beliefs. So what I did is I helped them overcome those limiting beliefs by telling them the truth. And here's what it is, that every human being is capable of achieving greatness. Every human being is capable of knocking down barriers and obstacles that have held them back forever once they learn to harness the basic principles of pain and pleasure and to move through fear towards what they want, to not focus on what's wrong in their life and to focus on where they want to go. All those things together almost ensure that you will be wealthy and successful in life. And the difference now is you have a strategy to get there. Let the straight line serve as this game changer in your own life. Let it be that catalyst that all of a sudden says, wow, you know what? Now that I know this technology, now that I've mastered this technique, or at least I'm good enough right now that I can go out and use it and achieve more, all of a sudden, your chances of success skyrocket. So there's no reason now not to act. You know the system. You know enough about it that you can influence people, you can persuade people, you could accomplish things that just before you started this that you could never accomplish. So there's no reason now not to use it in your life starting tomorrow. You've already been doing the exercise, you've hopefully been going out there and taking actions every day. Well, now it's time to spring into massive action. And I want you to use this guide, this study guide, and also these DVDs as a resource. Go back to them. If you're fuzzy on something, I want you to go through it, rewind it, fast forward it. You go again and again and again. I want you to master the art of tonality, learning how to read from a script without sounding like you're reading from a script. And I want you to be the best that you possibly can be. Don't be me. I want you to develop a style that's congruent with who you are, that makes you feel comfortable, that feeds your soul and your spirit, and allows you not just to achieve monetary success, but allows you to feel in your heart of hearts truly successful. Because in the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about you feeling that you're really alive and not just, sort of going through the motions of life and just, living at a low level. I want you, for your sake, to live life at the highest level. It's taken me an awful long time to figure that out. I'm 47 years old, and I wish someone would have told me this when I was 25 years old. It would have saved me a lot of heartache and a lot of time, especially 22 months in jail. So I want to thank you for going through this DVD collection here and really embracing this technology. And I want you just to go for it, knowing that with this skill, your chances of success are all but assured. And by the way, I've also included in this program the audio of the video, so you can actually listen to it, whether it's on your iPod or you're driving in your car. And that's very important because those are the times you can actually leverage what you're doing and make it not just a driving experience, but also a learning experience. So as you're going through this last module, I want you to really, really amp it up a bit. Give it that last 1% you might have been holding back, and I want you to internalize every last ounce of this, knowing that you're going to get the result you're looking for. The end game. Okay? This is your box, okay? Money aside, which you would never say, right? Does the idea make sense? If I'd been your advisor, which is talking about trusting you, right? As far as my company goes, your company's honestly ethical, and there you go. Boxed in. Tonal attitude towards stalls. Number one, tell me you have no money and I'll respect you. What does that really mean? It means I get that. Someone says I have no money, I totally got that. I respect that. Tell me you don't like the product and I'll respectfully argue with you. Meaning, I will convince you that you're wrong. I will influence you through my patterns and through bullet points and through information, logic, not emotion. Logic here, that my product is the best thing since sliced bread. I'm okay if you say to me, you know, I don't like your product. I accept that. Because I respect the guy that comes and says, no, I'm looking at your product and, wow, okay, well, here you go. I didn't do my job. Let me tell you more. I respect that person that says that. Tell me you don't trust me or my company, and I'll educate you. Beautiful. All logical and great. This is good stuff, right? They say that stuff, they're being honest. But don't tell me you simply need to think about it, or talk to your wife or your accountant, Santa Claus, to the tooth fairy. This I don't respect. So how you handle these objections, someone came out you and just said, listen, I'm not really sure your product's all that good or something. Don't say, well, what do you mean? I mean, I get it. Let me say this. The true beauty of my product is, well, you haven't found out yet. The idea there is you're entering them and saying, listen, you're smart. I'm not like, you fool, you don't like my product. No. Very smart. I think the problem is you just didn't know this one fact. Let me tell you. Let me educate you about my product. Don't trust my company? Let me tell you a little more about my company. Let me tell you about the chairman of my company. Let me tell you about how generous he is, how altruistic he is, so on and so forth. Don't just tell me I need to think about it. Think about what? To stall. That's your stall. Let's go next. Handling objections. Okay. The art of deflection, we've been talking about it all afternoon. All it means, it doesn't mean you're going to evade, you just deflect. Here are your common objections. And you're going to laugh when you see these. We love these. These are the ones. Here they come. Here they come. I can't afford it. Death in the family. I need to check with my accountant. Bad timing. The product is evil. I want to check it out. I've been burned before. I don't think. I need to think. I have a learning disability. My wife will kill me. I'm too depressed. I want to see it first in action. I need to do more research. Common objections, right? 90% of these are just stalls. They're just crap. All it is the scales haven't been tipped yet. That's what it is. When the scales tip, they vanish. When you create an airtight logical case, an airtight emotional case, to buy now, you've cracked through his limiting buying beliefs, and he's whizzing around in his brain saying, John, I want to buy, I know I should buy. And then you come with one smooth close. Believe me, if you do half as well, that's what's called the pennyweight that you finally put on the edge of the scale. It's the last line, it's that last boom. All it takes is like a microgram if you do even half as well as the rest of the people who've gone through this program. Believe me, you're going to be very, very impressed. Fair enough? All right. And they buy. This is the way it works. Most of those are crap. You'll find out if they're real, if they're sticking to them. Remember? Okay. And here's the ticket, by the way. I want you to know this. Don't think, like I say, the straight line's powerful. It's all the things I say it is. But in spite of that, you can't close everybody. And you shouldn't close everybody. Your goal is to close everybody who's closable. And then take those people and turn them into customers for life. That's your goal. So how do you do that? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of ways here that are really powerful. First is never duck a phone call. Salesmen do this all the time. It is the worst thing you can ever do. You kill the relationship with one ducked call. Bad news, you give it to them. They'll forgive you. You make a bad move in marketing, if you act quickly, they'll forgive you. Make a bad move in operations, they'll forgive you. Act quickly. You let it fester, you're done. They'll do business with anybody but you. If you duck one phone call. I've had people that I've been doing business for years, they duck one call, I'm done. Unless I need them. But if I don't need them, if I have a choice to do business with someone else, I'll do business with someone else. It's the worst thing you can do. Don't duck calls. And it also pisses your boss off, by the way, because he gets the call on compliance and creates complaints and so on and so forth. Send them to your competitor. If you really can't help your client, you'll say, send them to my competitor. Yes. Tell them where they can get the product that they need. You do that, you have a customer for life. Next time, first of all, rave about you to all their friends. And next time they need anything even remotely similar, they'll call you saying, well, if he doesn't know, he'll tell me where to go get it. Amazing strategy. And it also makes you feel good about yourself. This is good. It's good for you. Remember their family. Find out who they are after you've closed them. Don't go into the whole game to be their best friend before you've closed them. Time is money. But once they're your customer, get some basic facts. How do you do that? As you're closing this, as you're filling out the application, as you're whatever, quickly find out what their birthday is, if they have kids, what some of their interests are. We'll get into that in a second. Use gifts correctly. Now, more often than not, this is for a higher ticket of sale. Like if you're actually selling something to it's a big account or something, right? Occasionally at the low level it can work too, but using gifts correctly, what that means is if you're out there giving out like concert tickets to people or hockey tickets or baseball tickets, you better be sure that the person you're giving to likes baseball. I've had more companies offer me tickets to baseball games. I hate baseball. Stupid part on the salesman. Now offer me tickets to a Rolling Stones concert, you got a customer for life. Get me a ticket to a tennis match, you have a customer for life. Find out what makes your customer feel alive outside of work and fill that need with your gift. If your customer loves fishing, send them a magazine, a hunting and fishing magazine. Every month, $1.50 shows up at the door. He remembers you every single month for $12 a year. Something like that. Perfect example. Don't just send out random gifts to people. It's ridiculous. I almost like turn like, what an idiot. The guy's like, stop trying to bribe me. But when I get something I love, I'm like, whoa, cool. I call the guy, thank you, man, you know? Big difference. Okay? Write effective thank you notes. Language. Here's some key trigger words. I love, absolutely adore the gift that you sent me. It looks amazing sitting on the centerpiece at my table for Thanksgiving. Someone sends you a piece, hey, whatever it might be, I'm just making something up, right? Don't just say, thanks for the gift, it was really great. Be well. Sincerely, Jordan. Get personal. I loved it. I adored it. It was gorgeous. My family, people were commenting on it. That's how you write effective thank you notes. Okay? And when someone gets that, they're moved emotionally. Last thing is every once in a while you get into a situation where you can give a really, really special gift to a big client and you got to go like jump through hoops for it. Okay, one of the stories I heard, which it wasn't happening to me, it was just a great story, is a guy was trying to crack a big account at Ford, and he couldn't get into Ford. It was a huge account to get into Ford, and he actually went out and found out that the person that controlled the buyer, had a son who loved a specific sports player, and he went out and got a signed football from the athlete, and then brought the signed football and had delivered to the kid directly. The guy ended up making like $60 million in sales in buying from Ford he got for a football. Cost him $50. That's powerful. Don't underestimate the ability of a very simple $50 gift to get you massive, massive credibility. Massive. Everyone follow the concept? And this is you. You know, we spoke a lot about motivation and stuff like that. Let me just tell you what I would say to my brokers way back in the day. And I was doing something without even knowing it that was really clever. I was using NLP on them, neuro-linguistic programming, and I didn't even know I was doing it. Because a lot of what NLP is, it's just very basic, common sense, distilled down to its essence. It's almost like the straight line. There's nothing so earth-shatteringly, like it's a revolutionary, but it's just so perfectly orchestrated that it distills down sales to its best, right? The motivation strategy that I gave to my brokers was as follows. Each morning, I would give a meeting for about an hour, and each afternoon I'd give a meeting for 2 hours, for like 5 years straight. And I'd give meetings for 4 or 5 hours once a week at nighttime. That's how they got trained so well with the straight line. And it also trained me on the straight line by having to just speak about this stuff all the time. What I'd say to them is this. I would say the moment you step through this door and sit behind the desk and pick up a phone and say the words I teach you, everything in your past falls off. You become as powerful as the most powerful CEO in America. This phone is the great equalizer. It's the great equalizer when you say the words the way I teach you with the right tone and the right structure. Doesn't matter if you came from Harvard or Hell's Kitchen, you would become great, wildly successful with this little black telephone. That's what I would say to them. I'd say, act as if. So at the beginning of the film, I'd say, act as if you're a wealthy man, rich already, and you'll become wealthy. Act as if you have all the confidence in the world, and people will have confidence in you. Act as if you have all the answers, and the answers will come to you. Act as if. I told them to act the physiology of success. Because you generate the emotion that way, the state that way, and it allows you to access the resources, the tones, the certainty. Those positive, empowering states, the 3 C's. When you're in a positive peak state, you can commit miracles. You simply can. And I would say to them, now, if you don't want to do this, this is not for you, fair enough. Get the hell out. And I didn't say it so nicely. But before you leave, take a good look at the person sitting to your left. Because one day, in the not-so-distant future, you're going to pull up to a red light, and they'll be sitting in a beautiful Ferrari. And next to them will be a beautiful girl. Absolutely gorgeous. And what kind of car will you be in? A beat-up piece of shit Pinto with some ugly woman who's bitch-slapping you when she's in a bad mood. And it gets worse from there. Because after you go take that job at McDonald's, and if they're not hiring, you can go to Burger King, because that's where you're going if you leave this room. When you're done flipping burgers there and you're 65 years old, trying to live on a pension, which will be worthless, and Social Security, which will be bankrupt, and you're in that nursing home being fed soup through a straw by someone named Polly who bitch slaps you when she's in a bad mood, changes your diapers only when she wants to, that's your life if you leave this room. And I would look at these kids and be like, I would see faces like young kids like, oh my God. They'd be paralyzed with fear. I'm saying this for a reason. I'm saying it for a reason. Much of what I said was not true. There are other ways to make money to work at my firm. What I was doing was clever on my part. I didn't even know it. I was creating a strong anchor, a propulsion system. Watch. I want to show you this because I want you to do this for yourself in an ethical way that empowers you. What I did is I created a vision of them that was so awful in their life, visual, and I would go through this again. I was good at it, you know? I would get them they'd be laughing, and they would cry, they would, hey, nervous laughter, ooh, not me. But inside, they were dying. The vision of seeing themselves 65-year-old broke in a nursing home, next year in a shitty car. I'd say you have 2 fat, ugly kids in the backseat with ice cream on their faces. Groceries from the Price Club in the backseat. You don't even know what your life's going to be like. And I watched it melt and wilt in the seats, right? What I was doing, and I didn't know what I was doing, and it just sounded good to me at the time, right? I was creating what's called a propulsion system. This is pain. I was giving them something to move away from. If you don't roll up your sleeves and go to work, that's what you're gonna face. And they're like, so they work. I motivated them by pain. At the same time, I would say, but if you do what I say, and you follow the system, this proven system, the step-by-step system that will allow you to soar and become massively wealthy, you're gonna have the life. The house you want, the car you want, tons of money to help your parents, retire your parents, take care of those you love, donate money to your church, to your community, the best of everything, travel the world. That's the life, and live your life at the highest level and be one of those rare people in the world that takes what they want. And they go, yeah, and now again, that's not quite true. Great visual, but some of that's not really true. It's not quite ethical. It's a little bit off kilter. My motives weren't pure. But what can we learn from that is this. That is called gravitational pull to pleasure. So every single day, I push them away from pain and pull them towards pleasure. That's called a motivation strategy. Everybody is motivated differently. Some people move away from pain. You tell them how bad it's going to be if they don't take action, and they act. Other people couldn't care. They don't care about that. How bad doesn't motivate them. Those people move towards pleasure. Tell them how wonderful it will be if they'll paint the picture here, and they'll move towards it. They get pulled towards pleasure. Pushed away from pain, propulsion, pulled towards pleasure. Most human beings have a bit of both. And there's no right or wrong, it's just how we are. I, surprisingly, move away from pain. I also get pulled towards pleasure, but I move away from pain really, really well. If I have any hint that I might fail, and I failed many, many times, I will work and work and work and work. Who's like that? Raise your hand if you like that. A lot of us like that. Who here likes to move towards pleasure? You see something great, you go, eh? Either way, I have both. What I do is I know how I'm built, and I create in my mind, I use it to my advantage to run my own psychology. I create anchors to move away from, to pull me towards. I have visions, I have my goal sheet, and I get a vision above it, my vision of what my future's gonna be, and I let it pull me, my vision. And I have this box, this awful place that I know exists if I don't work hard and don't do what I sometimes don't want to do, and I procrastinate, and I live in a world of shoulds and all that sort of crap. And I move away from that. I make it painful, so painful I can hardly bear it, that it makes me wake up at night and keep me up at night. And people say, wow, you're really motivated. No, shit, if you were as scared as I am, you'd be motivated too. If you knew how great it could be, you'd be motivated too. Most people are not motivated, not because they're not motivatable, they have infinite goals. They have no vision in life. They're not moving towards anything. Get that? What's your why? What's your vision? Why are you doing this? What is your vision? What are you moving towards? What's the end game for you? Where are you going? Allow yourself to bathe in the pleasure of that now to motivate yourself. And then say, Jesus, and if I don't do it, what's going to happen? And let it scare the crap out of you. Use your brain as your best weapon. Motivate yourself. It works like a charm. And the best part is this. You have a new strategy for success. See, if you haven't succeeded to this point, it's really simple. You didn't have a system. Now you have a system that's been proven to work tens of thousands of times. You're screwed now. You have no excuse to fail. You fail now, shame on you. You have a system. Anyone can use this system. Anyone. And it applies to everything. All industries. Influence. Warren Buffett. The single most important skill in the life of Warren Buffett is not analyzing stock charts. That's great too. Warren Buffett is a master of persuasion. He buys companies when other people can't buy them. He gets people to work for free. does everything. A master of persuasion. Now you have every tool you need to be masters of persuasion. That's my gift to you. I want to thank you guys for coming. I hope I gave you a lot of value. But thanks for coming. It was a great couple of days. So that's it. You're finished. Congratulations. You went through all 10 modules. You finished the workbook, and you've been taking specific actions based on the knowledge that you've internalized. So now it's time really to go out there and really step it up, to kick it up a notch. And I want you to remember one very important point, that there will be some people out there in the world, maybe some people that are very close to you, that really, not that they don't want to see you succeed, but they're almost scared of your succeeding. I call these people the dream stompers, and these are the people that they stomp on your hopes and your dreams for a better life. They're the naysayers, the doubting Thomases, the people who will say, oh, that won't work, or you trusted that guy, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please. And let me just tell you something. There's only one way to deal with dream stompers, to get them out of your life. I want you to lose their phone numbers, not forever, but at least 90 days. And by the way, it would be better to be forever. And if it just so happens that someone very close to you is a dream stomper, whether it be your spouse or, someone, your parents, I want you to ask them to, hold off on the dream stomping, not forever, but give you at least 30 days of no dream stomping to support you for the first month. And you say, you know what, listen, every time you want to stomp on my dreams, just write it down. And then in 31 days, you can kill me with it. But at least let them give you 30 days here, because what's going to happen is this. I spoke earlier about the snowball effect. You put one piece of the puzzle into place and another piece of the puzzle into place, and all of a sudden one builds on the other, and you get that downward momentum rolling down the hill like the snowball, and it just explodes. And your numbers, meaning your sales numbers and anything you've been working on right now, any concept you've been trying to sell, any vision you've been trying to, relate to somebody else and having trouble, you're going to find that you're going to have great, great ease with doing it. So the most important thing right now is that you continue to grow and to use this technique, this technology, to actually take yourself to a level in sales and persuasion, whatever your business might be, to a whole different level, to allow yourself to achieve and to accomplish things that you never thought you were capable of. To that end, I run 3-day boot camps, and I run these really intense, even longer programs for people that are looking to take their skills to an even higher level. So I urge you to, cruise through my website and actually see if there are any events here that might appeal to you to really take this to the next level. Most importantly, I want you to take action today. Don't just, use the next program as an excuse not to take action. Don't say, oh, well, I'll go to the next one. I'll learn more about the straight line. No, no, no. You know enough right now to become very successful in your own life. However, there are certain things on the next level here that can propel you to things like speaking publicly, how to become a seminar leader. And I will tell you this, I make more money from my seminars than pretty much anything else. The only thing that's a close second to that is my corporate business, where I go and train corporations on, how to close, how to create customers for life, how to develop the rapport with people that lasts, not just for 1 or 2 weeks, but for a lifetime. So again, there are higher levels here, and I want you to cruise the website here. It's jordanbelfortglobal.com, and see what appeals to you. And most importantly, the resources that are on my website, they apply not just to selling, they apply to entrepreneurship, to marketing. I want you to use this as a resource, as a tool for you to really take your financial life and your personal life to a whole new level. So again, I want you to stick to this like white on rice. I want you to keep this close to your heart. I want you to take the straight line technique and use it for everything it's worth, and be ethical, have integrity with it, and believe me, your life's gonna soar. Thanks and good luck.